Hello, this is Geometry Topic 3-1 over pyramids and nets. So here's a net we've seen before. If we fold it along the dotted lines, it becomes a rectangular, a triangular prism. Because it's got two triangle bases and rectangular sides. Here's a new net. If we fold it along those dashed lines, it becomes a square pyramid. Okay? Triangular prism, square pyramid. So let's go ahead and label this pyramid. This is a lateral face. This is called the slant height. This would be the base, and this would be a lateral edge. Now if we look at this one, here where all the points connect, that's called the vertex. Here, the line that's in the middle of a face, that is the slant height. And this line that goes from the middle of the base at the top, would be the pyramid height. Okay? And important things to know is the slant height versus the pyramid height. One we will use for volume, and the other we will use for surface area. And it's important that you don't get them mixed up. So let's go ahead and compare prisms with pyramids. Well, prisms are named by its base. The number of lateral faces equal the sides on the base. A prism has two bases. The lateral faces are all rectangles. And the height is a lateral edge. And it does not have a slant height. Well, pyramids are also named by their base. The number of lateral faces are the number of sides on the base. But it only has one base. Its lateral faces are triangles. Its height is from center of the base to the vertex, and it has a slant height. So prisms and pyramids, some similarities, a lot of differences. Let's go ahead and look at some examples. So we want to determine if this net will make a pyramid. Well, I have a square base with 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles, one triangle for each side. So yes, this is a square pyramid. So take a look at this one. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triangles. So that would be a no. Because this one goes here, this one goes there, this one goes there, this one goes here, and I'm missing that triangle. But if it were a pyramid, it would make a hexagonal pyramid. Now we'll look at this one, and your first inclination is probably to say no. However, if we fold it up, we have a triangle. This is the base. These are our three lateral sides, so this would be yes. It makes a triangular pyramid. And so we see how we name our pyramids. Let's go ahead and take a look at example number 2. Our vertex is E. Our lateral faces are triangle ECB, triangle ECD, the back one, triangle EDA, there's that one, and triangle ABE. 4 lateral faces, 4 triangles. Our lateral edges would be AE, BE, CE, and hopefully you've guessed it by now, DE. Each of our lateral edges. Our base edges would be AB, BC, CD, and hopefully by now you've guessed it, DA or AD. And so that's the lateral faces, lateral edges, and base edges. Now we're going to see if we can find some values. We need to find our slant height. So they've given us the height of the pyramid of 8. They've given us the length of one edge of this, which is 12. And now we need to find our slant height. Well, this would be half of 12, so it is 6 long. And we need to figure out what kind of a triangle we have. We have a right triangle. We don't know anything about the angles, so we're just going to have to use Pythagorean theorem of a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And the slant height is c. So 8 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. If I get a calculator, I'll do 8 squared plus 6 squared. I get 100 equals c squared, so c must equal 10. So our slant height equals 10. Now, notice I use a cursive L to represent slant height. That's going to come up later when we're talking about surface area. The surface area is going to involve L, and I usually write a cursive L just so that it's very clear what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and talk about part B. We want to find the perimeter. Okay, if the perimeter is 160, we want to find the height. Well, this looks like a square pyramid. In fact, if it's not a square pyramid, we can't solve this. So we're going to assume a square pyramid, which means the length of every side is 40. 40, 80, 120, 160. And now, we come over here, and we know that this one is 20. And again, it's Pythagorean theorem, but this time, the 29 is c. So we have h squared plus 20 squared equals 29 squared. Well, if I subtract 20 squared from both sides, I get that h squared equals 29 squared minus 20 squared is 441. If we take the square root of 441, we get that h must be 21. And so this is example 3, both the slant height and the perimeter. We'll go ahead and take a look at example number 4. We want to find the indicated values. We have our prism. It's tilted toward us this time. We want to know what the indicated values are. So if the height is 30, we want to know what the slant height equals. So I'm going to pull this triangle out. If this is 32 on the square root of 3, Well, we need to figure out what our apothem is. So 32 square root of 3. We take half of that, and we get that this is 16 on the square root of 3. This is a 30, 60, 90 triangle, so my apothem would be 16. Alright, so the apothem is 16. My height would be 30, and I need to find my slant height. Okay. That's the base triangle. This is the height triangle, just in case you're getting confused. Well, now that for the height triangle, I do 30 squared plus 16 squared equals L squared. Well, 30 squared plus 16 squared is 1,156. If I take the square root of 1156, I get that L equals 34. Over here it says that the perimeter is 60. So I draw my base triangle. Okay. Well, if the perimeter is 60, that means that each side is 20 on the square root of 3. So this long leg would be 10 on the square root of 3. So my apothem is 10. It says that the slant height is 26, and we want to find what the height is. So h squared plus 10 squared equals 26 squared. If we subtract 10 squared from both sides, we get that h equals 26 squared minus 10 squared is 576. We take the square root of 576, and we get 24. And so that's how we find height. So, it shouldn't be too terribly hard. You may need some refreshers when it comes to finding the apothem in order to find your height or slant height. But other than that, this is a fairly easy assignment. Good luck on it, and have a good day.